right, so hello everybody. My name is Chris Avants, and I'm going to be talking to you guys today about experience and the many ways to get it. This is a TEN Talk, and it's also a pep talk, right, for our industry. But I do something a little bit different today. So first things first, thank you, Keith, for putting this together, bringing everybody together every year. Pretty awesome thing, right? And thanks to Matt, colleague instructors, WLPC team, continue to be impressed with this event and see it grow. It's been a pretty terrific thing, right? All right, so as Keith said, we want to get to the point of the TEN Talk, the very beginning. The point of this TEN Talk is also a pep talk. It's about experience. Bottom line, it's about investing in yourself, investing time, and also investing money. Investing in yourself is the best ROI you're ever going to get, right? Build labs, practice on the things you want to learn. Make sure you train, learn, conferences, just like we're here. If you're here, you already got a foot in the right step, right? Build blogs, network, because bottom line, even if you're an expert, we're always learning, right? So what's the definition of experience, right? Or what's your definition of experience? Most people believe that experience is purely related to time on the job, time spent working in a career. That's it. Anybody agree with that? I've been working somewhere for 10 years and now I'm experienced and I'm an expert. Right? It's a lot more than that, right? Some people think it's that thing you need along with certifications to make the big dollars. Our community, I did a poll on Twitter, one of our favorite communication platforms, right? Everybody in here on Twitter? Pretty much, yeah. So I did a poll, and I get the best technical answer of all time. It depends, right? Favorite technical answer of all time, right? Because it's not a great answer. No longer years of experience is enough. The on-the-job experience is, of course, important, but there's other things we can be doing with our time to really help become an expert and get the experience that we need. Let me ask, are there experts in the room? CCIEWs, CWNEs? See a few hands. How many of you in here want to become an expert? Working for a CCIE wireless, or working towards a CCIE wireless or CWNE? Yeah, a lot more hands, right? So if you are an expert and you've been in, and you raise your hand, you became an expert via experience, right? The original definition of the word expert is experienced. The definition of one word is another word, right? So if becoming an expert is at the end of this experience, how do we get it? Where can I get it? And can I get it faster than just spending 10 years on a job, right? So let me ask, even if you work in the Wi-Fi industry today, how many actual projects are you doing every year on the job? If you work for a static company, I did another poll, I couldn't find it to put the screenshot up here, but most of the people responded saying 1 to 2 unique projects a year. That's if you work for a non-VAR, non-partner, non-integrator. You guys agree with that? Somewhat? Yeah. That's what Twitter said, so it can't be wrong, right? Partner, if you work for a VAR, if you work for a consulting company, things like that, a lot of people said 6 to 10 projects a year. Does that sound more appropriate? A little bit, maybe more. I see some people going, yeah. So that's, but this is the average, right? This is what everybody came back with. So you could do it more or less, and that's great. But let's learn from some other industries how pros become pros and how they become experts are made, right? So here's, I'm from Texas, and this team over here is somewhat known in Texas and around the world. That's the Dallas Cowboys. It's American football, not the football you guys are used to. But I'm sure everybody know the Cowboys. You're all in my cool book, right? All right, good deal. But believe it or not, they spend about 5% of their career on the field, right? They're expected to be professionals. They spend about 5% of their time on the actual field playing games. The rest of the time, 95% of the time, they're practicing for that 5% of the time. Why is it in pretty much no other profession it's that way, right? You want to be the best at something? Most of those people that are the best, doctors, lawyers, they go to school for decades. They still continue to learn over and over and over, right? But in a lot of other careers, it's not that way. Let's talk a little bit about wants and needs, okay, and meet will. So you want to become a WLAN pro, you want to become a site survey master, you want to become a CWNE, become a CCIE wireless, for example, right? You can get there on the job experience, but let's take the CCIE wireless, for example. This is a topology I came up with. Now, the blueprint's changing in a couple months, but quite a few devices, as you can see here. And bottom line, it's a lab. You can practice in a lab. And, just like the football example, spending a majority of your time, or at least a lot of time in the lab, should hopefully pay off for you, right? So not only learn the concept, but build the speed to complete the concepts quickly, because in this particular lab, you've got 8 hours to complete it. Maybe several days of things they ask you to do, but they also want you to do them in 8 hours, right? So it can get pretty tough. But anything's achievable, right? So what do? Let's build labs. Let's run through some of these drills, right? You don't have to build that exact topology. You can take a class and do that exact topology, but you can practice each one of those things without much investment nowadays. Whenever I started to build a lab, I would spend thousands of dollars to build a lab. There was no virtualization, there was no viral, there was no tools to emulate things, or at least very little. Nowadays, we got more than ever, guys. Cheaper to build the labs than ever. I have several CCIE wireless students that spend maybe $1,000 to $2,000, and the lab they build, they can practice 90% of what's on the CCIE blueprint. 1 to 2. I cut out? All right. So you got something at home. You don't have to wait for somebody to enable something for you. This is something you can build time and time again. And obviously, instead of waiting for those 5 to 10 projects a year, if you're Blake, you might be doing 15 or 20, right? I saw a few other people, but that's the one I noticed. But I could do 15 to 20 labs a night on a free day. Maybe not run through everything, right? But I've got a lot more flexibility now. And yeah, free time's always a challenge for all of us. We all have the same amount of time, right? But the bottom line is I can now get a lot more experience a lot faster by doing things like this, right? So this is a closet at home that's inside the house. It continues to evolve over the years, right? This is when I used to make phones ring. It's back in the day. I kind of got a little bit tired of making phones ring by themselves. So, went more with wireless. So that was inside. That's my garage. Christmas tree. There's no CCI at all in that rack. I'm just kidding. There's plenty of it. But for a lab, right, you can test so many things, and it's not really just about that. So in the real world it is, but in the lab it's not. And then, oh yeah, there's an office lab rack. So I've spent a ton of money on this stuff over the years. A lot of the experts I know have also spent tons of money on this stuff over the years. But guess what? I've never lost a penny doing it. Investing in yourself is one of the best investments you will ever make, hands down, by far, right? Let's take another example. I want to master Wi-Fi surveys. Here was a survey that we just looked at in class before the boot camp. This was sent to me by a friend of mine. He was a route switch guy. And he said, what's wrong with our network? Right? So we had some fun, and I said, hey, can I use this in class as an example? And he's like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, we can. So obviously, we're going from here, 6, 7, 8 APs, CCI. We want to get to here, right? How do we do that? Do we just continue on the job for those 5 to 6 projects a year? Or how about we get the tools, we invest in the tools, we invest in some time, we could go through 5 or 6 examples a night for predictive and just trying different things, trying different APs, trying different maps, right? So it doesn't just always have to be on the job and just taking a long amount of time to get things, right? So there's even more ways to earn experience, right? If you're not where you want to be in life, what separates you from the people that are where you want to be in life, right? So interact and connect with members here, for example, right? We got lots of experience in this community, and it's one of the friendliest communities I've ever met. You guys agree with that? Pretty solid, right? So get on Twitter. I already asked. You guys are on Twitter. That's a great start. for some reason, I wasn't on Twitter for years. It wasn't until all my wireless buddies are like, I'm trying to message you on Twitter. I'm like, who are you messaging? I'm not even on there. So finally, it's like, yeah, you got to make that dive. And you know what? I've become a better person for it. Right? All right. So police are not the only people who allow ride-alongs. Right? I don't know if you guys have seen that kind of stuff over here where police allow you to ride around and watch them do their thing. Well, police are not the only people who do that. If you know somebody that's an expert in the field and you want to take your time and go along with them, that's a great way to learn, right? Go on a ride along, see how they're doing things. See why they're more popular, see maybe why they're getting more business, right? I'm sure they'll help you out. As I said, great community. Attend conferences. You're off to a good start. You guys are here. Those of you watching on video, you need to be here, right? Phoenix, okay? And if you have big goals like the CWNE, CCIEW, whatever your big goals are really, you can do it. One other thing I'd say about this though, one critical thing, get support from the family. Let them know the investments, the time of resources you're planning to make, because it is a lot of time, right? It's what I hear from all my students is, it's the time, it's the time, it's the time. I have a daughter now. We all have to just kind of weigh that balance, right? But if you evolve and you succeed and you grow, that's better for everybody, right? So if you let them know what you're doing, you'll get support and it will make things a whole lot easier on you, I promise. You'll all grow closer by doing that as well, right? So again, invest in yourself, invest the time, invest the money. I've never lost a dime. You saw the type of equipment I've invested in, tens of thousands of dollars. Probably way more than that, honestly. And sometimes I've sold the gear and made all the money back, right? But bottom line, I'm doing okay for myself. I'm very blessed to be where I'm at. So it pays off. Continue with the conferences, the blogs, the network. Start your own blog. I know other people have said that. I've seen that from these conferences before, right? But that's a big deal. And bottom line, even if you're an expert, we're always learning. And that's the truth, right? All right, so this was just 10 minutes. I'm getting close there, but I'm going to be here all week. So if you have questions about this, one is going to be a short talk. Twitter at Rockstar Wi-Fi. Chris at Wi-Fi Training. See me around here. Chris Avants.
Thank you,
guys.
Chris.